You are not the dream I once held close, nor the vision I imagined so clearly. You are something different, something far more complex. And I find myself wrestling with these feelings: confusion, disappointment, but also a strange sense of acceptance that I didn't expect to find. You are not the person I thought I was waiting for. The love I envisioned was supposed to be easy, effortless. But what I've found with you is deeper, more raw, and unsettling in ways I couldn't have anticipated. And I'm learning that's okay, even if it's hard to admit. You are not the perfect match I once desired, but perhaps that's the greatest lesson of all. In you, I see imperfections that make me rethink what love truly means. Love that's messy, challenging, but undeniably real. You are not what I had hoped for. The fantasy I once crafted in my mind seems like a distant dream now. Yet in the midst of this reality, I find myself strangely captivated by who you are, with all your flaws and complexities. You are not the person I imagined would fill my life with warmth and certainty. But as time passes, I realize that you bring with you a unique kind of depth, a mystery that keeps me questioning my own beliefs and expectations. You are not the perfect reflection of what I once wished for, but you are the reality I now face. The more I get to know you, the more I understand how the love I once thought I wanted is different from what I actually need. You are not the person I expected to walk into my life. But here you are, teaching me that what I thought was ideal isn't always what is meant for me. And as I come to terms with this, I find myself growing in ways I didn't anticipate. You are not the vision of perfection I once yearned for, yet there's a kind of beauty in your imperfections that I can't ignore. What I thought was lacking is actually what makes you and us unique. You are not the person I dreamed about in my fantasies, and at times that reality stings. But in your flaws, I see a reflection of my own vulnerability, and that connection is something deeper than what I once imagined. You are not what I thought I needed, but perhaps what I need is not always what I imagine. I'm discovering in you a new kind of love, one that doesn't look like I expected, but one that's richer and more profound than I ever dreamed. You are not the picture-perfect partner I once imagined. Instead, you are real, raw, and unfiltered. And while that challenges everything I once thought I wanted, it also opens my eyes to a deeper, more authentic connection. You are not the dream I had been waiting for, and that realization hurts. But as I stand in the reality of who you are, I am learning to accept that sometimes the most unexpected things are the ones that teach us the most. You are not who I thought I needed, yet here you are, challenging my every belief and assumption. With you, I am forced to face truths I would rather avoid, but in that discomfort, I find myself evolving in ways I never could have imagined. You are not the person I longed for, but in your presence, I have discovered a love that doesn't fit the mold. It's complicated, unpredictable, but in its raw honesty, I'm learning that this is what real connection looks like. You are not the person I envisioned in my wildest dreams, but as I learn to love you, I realize that the love I imagined was not meant for me. What we have is something more authentic, even if it's not what I once desired. You are not the person I thought I was searching for, but perhaps that's where the beauty lies. In the unexpected, I find growth. In the unanticipated, I find depth. And in you, I find a love I never imagined but am learning to embrace. You are not the person I dreamed of, but you are the person who has taught me more about love and life than I ever thought possible. And though it's not the fairy tale I once desired, it is far more real and meaningful. You are not the ideal I had hoped for, but you are a lesson I never knew I needed. In your presence, I've found a depth of emotion that challenges my beliefs and reshapes everything I once thought I knew about love. You are not the person I once imagined would be by my side, but as time unfolds, I realize that my initial desires were based on illusions. You are real, and with that reality comes a connection that is more powerful than I ever anticipated. You are not the love story I once fantasized about, but in your imperfection, I've found a story far more compelling, one that is written not in idealized moments, but in the raw and real experiences we share. You are not the person I once yearned for, but there is something about your presence that stirs emotions I didn't know I had. Though it's not what I imagined, it's undeniably something I've come to treasure in unexpected ways. You are not the perfect vision I had in mind, but you are teaching me that love is not about perfection. It's about the willingness to accept each other's flaws, to grow together, and to find beauty in the moments that challenge us. You are not who I expected to encounter, yet in you, I find a raw honesty that's both comforting and unsettling. It's not what I dreamed of, but perhaps it's what I truly need to learn, grow, and evolve. You are not the person I thought would change my life, but in your presence, I see now that the person I was waiting for might not have been what I needed. You are shaping me in ways I couldn't have predicted. You are not the person I once hoped for, but perhaps that's where the magic lies. In the unexpected, I have found a kind of love that I never knew existed, a love that doesn't conform to what I thought was ideal, but one that fits me in ways I never imagined. You are not the dream I thought I'd realized, but I've come to like that sometimes the most unexpected realities are the ones that reshape us most profoundly. You are my reality now, and though it's not what I wanted, it's what I need. You are not the person I imagined, but in your raw, unpolished form, I find a kind of beauty that is far more precious than any fantasy I once had. You are teaching me that love does not need to be perfect to be real. You are not the person I thought I would find, but as I let go of the ideals I once held, I realize that you are exactly what I needed to grow into the person I was meant to become. You are not the vision I once held in my mind, but in your imperfection, I have found a love that is deeper, more complicated, and more honest than I could have ever imagined. You are not who I thought I would fall in love with, but with you, I've learned that sometimes love isn't about finding the perfect person. It's about growing together, learning to embrace each other's flaws. You are not the dream partner I envisioned. Yet, here you are, challenging everything I once thought I wanted. And in that challenge, I am learning to understand myself and you in ways I never expected. You are not the person I was hoping for, but you are the person who has taught me that sometimes love is not about fitting into a mold. It's about accepting each other in all our contradictions and complexities. You are not the person I once thought I was searching for, but in your presence, I've found a love that doesn't ask for perfection. It asks for honesty, growth, and the willingness to embrace each other as we are. You are not what I once thought I wanted, yet in the reality of who you are, I find something far more meaningful than the fantasy I once held in my heart. In your imperfections, I have found my truth. You are not the person I once thought I'd love, but in you, I see a reflection of my own struggle to reconcile who I am with who I thought I should be. Together, we're learning to accept each other as we are. You are not the person I once imagined, but as I get to know you, I realize that love is not about finding someone who fits a perfect mold. It's about discovering beauty in the things that make us different. You are not the person I thought I was waiting for, yet here you are, teaching me that love is not about fulfilling a fantasy. It's about embracing the person standing in front of you, flaws and all. You are not the person I once hoped for. Yet, in your presence, I have found a love that is real, raw, and often difficult. But that's exactly what makes it worth fighting for. You are not the dream partner I had longed for, but in your presence, I find a kind of beauty that no ideal could match. You are my reality, and that is enough. You are not who I once imagined would walk beside me, but the more I learn about you, the more I realize that the person I thought I wanted was only a reflection of what I needed to let go of. You are not the partner I once envisioned, but I have come to realize that sometimes the person we need is not the one we imagined. You are teaching me the beauty of living in the moment without expectations. You are not what I thought I was looking for, but in you, I've discovered something real. Love is not about finding perfection. It's about accepting what is and growing from there. You are not the person I imagined would change my world, but in you, I have found a love that is transformative, one that challenges and shapes me in ways I never anticipated. You are not the perfect match I once envisioned, yet in your presence, I've found something more meaningful. It's not what I thought I wanted, but it's everything I need to grow. You are not the person I once dreamed of, but with each passing day, I find that the love I thought I needed is not the love I now crave. You have shown me the difference.